Stopgap Dance Company. We sat down with the artistic collaborators working with us on Live Fiction to hear more about their role, their processes and experience.
My name is Ryan Dawson Laight and I'm the costume designer for Live Fiction. It was my second time working with Stopgap. The first piece of work was an outdoor piece of work, and so obviously very different in terms of environment and scale. There were just 2 dancers, and Live Fiction obviously, I think there were 7 performers in total, all with varying degrees of differences. And yeah, today's the day we put everybody on stage for the first time in costume, so exciting. I do lots of dance, so I'm used to designing choreographers' thoughts, which I think is what designers do with choreographers. Often it's about the body, and all the time it's about movement, obviously, and so I have quite a lot of experience in working in dance, and there are certain things that need to happen, and so quite often it's about individual dancers' needs, so the differences in kind of body shape, and the choreography and how the costume reacts or doesn't react as a performer moves. You know, different choreographers work in different ways, and different styles of dance, you know, often echo the stuff you're doing. So, you know, for instance, I do quite a lot of work in kind of hip hop, crump and contemporary dance. It's often the material is a lot heavier and feels a lot more, has more weight to it. Whereas, you know, something that's balletic, I guess, has much more kind of freedom of movement, and materials tend to be soft. So often it's about what is the material, because the material is the most important thing to me. But my process is very much about colour and texture, mostly. I'm interested in colour and what that does, and how that kind of looks on stage, and how it kind of reacts with light. And then I'm interested in the texture, so the movement of fabric and what that does. But mostly those thoughts come from conversations with the choreographer. So the choreographer will tell me lots of things about the production, say lots of useful words, and then I mostly kind of try and pull out the kind of interesting stuff that tells the story further. So obviously my job is also a part of storytelling, and trying to give the audience as much of that information as possible. I've been really interested in this particular piece and some of the things that they've been playing with. So there's quite a lot of sound play going on, and so I was asked to incorporate sound in costumes, and actually I was really interested in that. A lot of the materials I use tend to be kind of plasticky or have sound to them anyway. They're nylon. You know, if you think of a tent, think of putting up a tent, it has like this like sound to it. So I kind of knew when the conversations came up about sound, I was like, oh, I know what that fabric is, I know what that is. And then there was this conversation about like zips and the sound zips make, and Velcro and what that does. And I brought a bunch of things into the rehearsal room to try and kind of have that be a part of the conversation we're having. And you'll see from the costumes quite a lot of that is coming in. I believe that then a sound designer has recorded some of those the sounds we've made in the costume. And so in terms of kind of, you know, telling that story vocally or visually within the show, I'm quite interested in what that journey has been. I mean, I think the fact that we are trying to, you know, we're choosing fabrics that make sound, that tell stories to non-seeing audience, that's looking at accessibility, and that's an interesting part of the project. I think in terms of touch and sound. I think the costumes are very, very, a part of the team. There's always something that, I'll remember was a good part of what we did, whether that's to do with colour or style, cut of a cloth, sound of fabric makes. Yeah, there's always something. These dancers have a very kind of special joy to them, and actually how the company are as a team, you take away those things and hopefully you carry those things forward.